Welcome to the Deep Dive. This week, we took a stack of sources that don't just describe innovation. They describe a revolution, a hyper-competitive landscape defined by investments so large they are, well, fundamentally redrawing the global map of power.
You really are.
We're looking at the emergence of truly autonomous agents that can code for days without any human intervention. The speed of development right now is genuinely unprecedented.
It absolutely is. And for anyone needing a sharp, informed understanding of where AI is right now, not 6 months ago, the sources we have tell a clear, urgent story.
So what's the frame for today?
I think we can unpack it around 3 core themes. First, the agentic arms race, what it means now that truly autonomous coders are live.
And hitting the mainstream.
Exactly. Second, the massive investment tsunami and how that capital is specifically fueling a dramatic shift toward physical industrial AI.
Okay.
And third, the immediate geopolitical consequences and, the alarming consumer safety implications of all this rapid expansion.
Okay, let's put some numbers on this. We're talking about one of the largest single strategic investments in AI history, a combined $15 billion.
15 billion.
And in the same breath, the launch of software that can autonomously write and debug itself for over 24 hours straight.
Wow.
The entire industry just shifted gear this November. Let's jump right into that head-to-head battle for state-of-the-art, or SOTA.
Okay.
Google really kicked off the action by launching Gemini 3. That's the Pro and Flash versions.
Right.
They have now reclaimed the frontier model lead across nearly every standard benchmark. We're talking reasoning, math, science, and the critical area of multimodal and tool use.
And what's fascinating here is that Google didn't just win on paper. They immediately used that momentum to reshape the whole competitive landscape.
With Antigravity.
With Antigravity. And this isn't just a cool name for an update. It's a free agentic coding platform built right into their ecosystem.
And that strategic choice is the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Antigravity allows anyone to build full-stack applications.
I mean, think about that.
A functional website, a mobile backend, a database using only natural language.
You don't need to be an engineer anymore. You just need an idea.
It just dramatically lowers the coding barrier for potentially billions of people.
But the question is, if it's free, is Google just trying to capture all the developer data and create a de facto standard, or is this, a genuine public good?
That's the tension.
It is. And regardless, the immediate response from OpenAI shows that the real arms race isn't just about accessibility, it's about pure hands-off capability. They countered immediately with GPT-5.1 Codex-Max.
And this is where the capability leap gets really fascinating. Codex-Max is the first agentic model that can work autonomously for over 24 hours.
24 hours.
It's using something they call a compaction technique to manage those huge, long-running processes. What does that actually mean for a real-world task?
Okay, so when an AI works for a long time, it starts to forget what it was doing. It runs out of context space, its memory. Compaction is basically an advanced internal summarization technique. It lets the agent look back over days of its own work code, notes, everything.
Call its own internal monologue.
Exactly. It condenses that massive history into a tiny instruction set and keeps working on the same complex goal without getting lost.
So this is the difference between a bot that writes a function and a bot that builds an entire software product over a weekend by itself.
We've moved past simple tasks. This is the arrival of the fully autonomous developer.
Wow.
And the performance proves it. Codex-Max actually outperforms Gemini 3 Pro on the coding benchmarks. And get this, it uses 30% fewer tokens and runs significantly faster.
So you have this clear split. Google is pushing accessibility with a free, massive tool, and OpenAI is pushing the absolute frontier of multi-day self-sufficient engineering.
A very clear split.
And crucially, these agents aren't just stuck in the labs. They are rolling out to consumers right now.
Right.
Google is deploying agentic shopping and travel experiences across Search and Gemini. I mean, think about an AI that can call stores for you to check inventory.
Real-time inventory.
Yes. Handle the full checkout flow, create personalized travel itineraries, and just book the flights directly. All the friction is just gone.
And that agent war is just the surface, right? Because running agents that call stores and book flights requires truly enormous infrastructure.
Of course.
And that brings us under the hood to where the real capital war is being fought. We're seeing money being used to cement certain players into positions that are, well, virtually unassailable.
Which brings us to the biggest consolidation news, that massive strategic investment in Anthropic.
Yes. Microsoft and Nvidia announced a combined $15 billion investment.
15 billion.
This single move pushed Anthropic's valuation near $350 billion. I mean, the money's staggering, but the deeper implication is the integration.
Right. It's not just cash.
Not at all. Claude models are now deeply integrated into Azure AI Foundry, and Anthropic has committed to $30 billion in Azure compute spend. This locks Anthropic in as the undisputed number 3 player.
It effectively rings the bell, right?
Yeah.
It confirms that only companies with, like, nation-state level backing can compete at this scale.
That's it. The club is now closed.
And here's where the market signals point to entirely new battlegrounds. While the big three are fighting over language models in cloud, Jeff Bezos is back in the startup world with Project Prometheus.
This isn't a vanity project. This is a personal, strategic bet by one of the world's most successful strategists.
He's already raised $6.2 billion.
And poached about 100 of the world's top researchers from OpenAI, Anthropic, DeepMind.
All the heavy hitters.
All of them. And their focus is emphatically not on chatbots or consumer services.
No. The strategic significance is that they are focused squarely on AI for manufacturing. Physical world AI.
Yes. Bezos is signaling that the next major multi-trillion-dollar battleground after language models is industrial automation, controlling the physical world.
He's in chasing consumer hype. He's looking 10 years ahead at the factory floor.
And that tells you everything about where the real money is going to be made, not just in software, but in steel, in production lines, in robotics.
Which naturally requires unprecedented amounts of compute power.
Of course. Which is why we have to briefly mention Lambda raising another $1.5 billion just to expand its superintelligence cloud. It just confirms this frantic, nonstop race for raw compute. It's the new oil.
And that transition from virtual agents to physical mastery is so clear in the research labs, too. It's no longer just about generating text or photorealistic images.
No.
We're now generating accurate simulations and reconstructions of reality itself.
And this is where NVIDIA's Apollo becomes critical and, frankly, a little terrifying. They open-sourced an entire suite of physics foundation models.
Okay, wait. Foundation models for physics. So if a language model writes poems, is this a model that can predict how a building will collapse or how a tsunami wave will move?
Essentially, yes. These models are trained on real-world and simulation data. They cover incredibly complex systems like fluid dynamics, structural mechanics, even climate modeling.
For what purpose?
For immediate critical use in automotive design, aerospace engineering, robotics, it drastically accelerates the design and testing loop for physical products.
So if Bezos is betting on manufacturing,
these are the tools that will make that manufacturing autonomous and optimized.
And the transition from simulating reality to actually reconstructing it in 3D is happening so fast. ByteDance's depth anything 3 is the new SOTA in monocular depth estimation.
Which just means generating a 3D map from a single camera. That's always been tricky because the model has to accurately guess scale and distance from a flat 2D image.
And this solves that.
It's a huge leap. It generates high-resolution, spatially consistent 3D depth maps from a single image with unprecedented detail. For robotics, AR, autonomous driving, that's a game changer. They need to understand space instantly and accurately.
And Meta is making 3D creation accessible to everyone with SAM 3 and SAM 3D.
Right.
Now you can just segment any object in a photo, say the vase on your shelf, and instantly reconstruct it as a high-quality, manipulable 3D model, just by typing what you want.
A huge win for creators, e-commerce, anyone building for the metaverse.
Exactly.
And then finally, look at prediction power. DeepMind's WeatherNext 2 is now 8 times faster than its predecessor.
8 times.
It can generate hundreds of possible weather scenarios in under a minute. During an extreme weather event, that speed is the difference between warning people minutes earlier or not at all. It's a massive public safety improvement.
Now, when we talk about compute power and infrastructure, we have to talk about how AI is impacting nation-states and the global balance of power. Saudi Arabia has laid out this highly ambitious vision to become the most AI-enabled nation.
And they are backing that vision with infrastructure spending that just rivals entire national R&D budgets.
We're talking about massive partnerships with xAI and Nvidia to deploy over 600,000 GPUs.
600,000.
And build a 500-plus megawatt data center, rolling out Grok nationwide.
This kind of state-level investment radically reshapes global compute geopolitics. It creates a new supercluster of AI infrastructure in the region.
It ensures access is no longer just concentrated in Silicon Valley or China.
Exactly.
And speaking of Grok, xAI's Grok 4.1 is making waves not just for its knowledge, but for its personality and reliability.
Right. It achieved the highest emotional intelligence benchmark score among all the tested models.
That's fascinating. What does that mean in practice?
It means Grok is better at handling nuanced, sarcastic, or frustrated prompts than its competitors. This isn't about giving therapy. It's about radically improving user satisfaction by allowing for complex human communication. And at the same time, they drop the hallucination rate down to a remarkably low 4%.
So you get that combination of emotional nuance and factual reliability.
Which makes for a very compelling, trustworthy user experience.
But that trustworthiness at the frontier brings us directly to the safety risks facing consumers right now at the ground level. This is the critical downside of all this speed.
Yes.
Watchdog groups Fairplay and PIRG released a major warning to parents. Avoid AI-powered toys this holiday season.
And the risks they cited are just profoundly concerning because they are so basic.
Inappropriate content, sensitive data collection from always-on microphones.
These devices are just being deployed without proper safeguards. The report even cited one toy that gave dangerous instructions to a child.
And OpenAI had to revoke its API access.
They had to pull the plug.
That's the central tension we have to highlight here. We're developing models that can design skyscrapers and write code for days, but we can't regulate a teddy bear that might leak your child's data.
That enormous gap between the frontier capability and just fundamental consumer protection. That's the real story. And as all this is happening, we're also seeing some significant leadership and governance context emerge. Larry Summers, the former U.S. Treasury Secretary, resigned from the OpenAI board.
Right, after those previously undisclosed email exchanges with Jeffrey Epstein surfaced.
And that adds a serious layer of governance scrutiny at a time when OpenAI is already under intense pressure.
And while all this money is flowing, $15 billion here, $6 billion there, Google CEO Sundar Pichai is sounding a loud cautionary note.
He is. He's warning of AI market irrationality, a potential bubble.
And he stated explicitly that no company, including Google, would be immune from the fallout if that bubble bursts.
That sentiment is such a crucial counterpoint to the huge investment numbers. It's a reminder that this is still a classic boomer-bust cycle fueled by FOMO and speculation.
Even if the underlying tech is genuinely transforming.
Even that.
And on a totally different note, we're seeing the entertainment industry just pivot dramatically. Warner Music Group is now licensing its entire catalog to co-develop AI music tools.
With Stability AI and Udio.
Yeah. This signals a really clear industry shift. They're moving away from lawsuits and toward collaboration. The fight is over. Now they're figuring out how to make money together. So what does this all mean for you? The defining narrative of this deep dive is really that tension we just mentioned. We have record-setting private investment fueling the race for truly autonomous agents, the 24-hour coders. At the exact same time, consumer protection agencies are sounding alarms about the lack of basic safety in just everyday AI toys.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the most profound strategic shift in this whole round of news is the change in target.
From virtual to physical.
Exactly. We are transitioning rapidly from developing virtual software agents to mastering and controlling the physical world. Bezos' Project Prometheus, the $15 billion infrastructure play, Nvidia's Apollo models.
It all points in the same direction.
It all confirms that the next true measure of AI dominance will be industrial physical control.
Absolutely. The age of the autonomous developer is here.
So given the speed of these new agents and the successful development of foundation models for complex physics like Apollo, here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on. What happens when fully autonomous AI agents move from just writing software to actively designing, optimizing, and manufacturing complex physical products in real time? If the AI can solve the physics and write the code, is the true bottleneck now simply access to compute power?